Hey everyone, welcome to r/Tales from Tech Support, where we get to have a little chuckle at the technically disadvantaged. I'm Uncle Reddit, and have I got some stories for you.
Problem solved. User decided to do what we asked them to do. I'm an apprentice at a production company. We are 4 people in IT taking care of a few hundred people's IT problems, along with setting up and managing the infrastructure. I'm at my coworker's office when he gets a call. According to him, the call went as follows. User: the scanner is doing weird things. Coworker: did you try turning the scanner and PC off and on again? User: I don't even know how that would work. It's not urgent or anything, I just wanted to let you know. To be fair, our scanners don't have visible power buttons on the front. Coworker looks at me and grins as he seems to remind how I just threw a stress ball at him out of boredom. I'll send OP over to take a look at it. IT is in a different building from most of the company, some 2-minute walk away. Usually we try to bundle up non-urgent tickets and requests that need on-site support to avoid unnecessary walks. However, in this time of quiet and peace due to WFH and the weather being quite enjoyable, we tend to go for the walk for as much as swap of corded to cordless mouse. I enjoy the sun as I walk over to the production building. I sanitize my hands with the sanitizer stationed in front of the employee entrance, pass the gate and go inside, when I get a call from my coworker. User decided they'd give rebooting the PC a try and it fixed the problem. So I went back to my office thinking about putting this on r/Tales from Tech Support as I've been reading on here for most of the day already. Yep. Sometimes you just gotta listen to the guys that get paid to know. Is that necessary property necessary? Short story of a customer making my facepalm. I am a web developer and most of the work I do is development and support of clients' websites. My company also does web hosting, so we have a few clients whose websites are on our servers, but they're fully responsible for their own code and website management. One of these clients was having problems with their site, and because they're a good client, as a sign of good faith, we agreed to spend a little time to see if we could help identify the problem. My boss asked me to take a look since I had some extra time available, and I immediately found that a property was missing from the configuration that was necessary with their UP. 2 instances on a load balancer, and this was almost certainly the cause of the problem. I wrote my findings in an email. Me: the issue is most likely that you're missing the property in your web configuration. Each front-end environment must have that property with the same key. Example of property. About a week later, for this urgent issue, they emailed back. We are not using property on the current front-end 1 or front-end 2 environment. Is that required for solving the issue? No, it's not required. When I said each environment must have that property, I didn't really mean it. I know. Why would they sit there and think that you're, lying to them? Do they really think you're getting paid to sit there and lie? It's amazing. You guys ever run into that before? Somebody, you tell them the solution, and they just sit there and look at you like you're stupid or you're just trying to steer them wrong? Let me know in the comments. Some sites just need to stay down. Another story from my time in telecom. We were setting up cell sites out in the desert. Won't say which one. Don't want to identify the heartless telecom company I was working for. And I got a call that one of my sites was down. So I truck on out there. One of my coworkers beat me to the site and already had the cabinet open. He walked up to me and seemed genuinely shook up. This site is down and it's going to stay down. I ain't touching the bleeping thing. Okay, this is different. Usually he's pretty level-headed. I go over to the cabinet and I see the problem. The site went down because the switch failed. This was new technology and it had a high fail rate on rollout, but usually full power off restart would wake it up again. Nope. On top of the power supply, enjoying the warmth, was a large rattlesnake just enjoying snake life. Someone had missed blocking off one of the wire ducts, and our new boss had found a home. So I found a long stick and used it to flick the big red power switch, and then I walked away. As I figured after a couple of hours with the aluminum power supply case cooling off and his new house uncomfortably exposed, he decided to slither off to better places. Once he was clear, we powered up the site, and in this case, we did have to replace the switch. And finally, we covered that freaking hole. Oh, hell no! Yep, I wouldn't even close that door. Nothing. I'd have done just what your coworker did. Went and sat in my truck and waited. Good on you for finding a big stick and figuring that part out. I'm not sure I got the stomach for that. We're doing it live! This story is set mid to late 2000s, shortly after we launched 2 greenfield switching centers. Part of this launch was the 3G EVDO, which, as Ethernet backhaul was too new and expensive for a small company, we were still using T1 based backhaul for all of our services, typically multiple using MLPPP. In this case, we originally went with the T1 aggregation router, using OC3s at the switch end, by the same company that was always well known for their superior DAX products, Digital Cross Connect Systems, basically an MUX that we could do T1, T3 plus etc. cross connects without physically cabling. We use their DAX products as well. They have always been stable. This hardware was not stable, however. We launched 2 markets in late June 2009, and as soon as we started selling phones and traffic hit the boxes, these routers were crashing at least once a month in some form or another. Sometimes the processor cards locked up but wouldn't fail over, causing a full outage. Sometimes the OC3 cards would fail, stop processing traffic, but not cause the OC3s to fail over to protect. Eventually, the company HQ had enough. They purchased replacement routers as the Titan hint of a company had failed to meet the contract requirements and they could not fix the issues. The second vendor came out, we installed the replacement routers, did a test. Since we were working with proprietary telco hardware on both sides, we needed to test and soak with a single cell site for a week, and all looked good. So after many weeks, we were finally ready to move on. Had a last go no-go call around noon and decided we would cut over that night, starting at midnight. New router was pre-configured with the 600 plus cell towers. All we had to do was delete and add the new cross connects in our DAX. It was a simple move. However, this garbage of a system would not let us off easy. The early evening after the last go no-go call, just before we went home for the day, where we would be swinging over everything that night, we had another outage. Because, of course we did. At first we opened a ticket with the original router vendor, which they offered promises of quick restoral. After 30 minutes, my coworker who was to work that night doing the T1 cross-connect swings and had all his scripts ready asked, "Why don't we just swing everything over now?" After 30 minutes, my coworker, who was to work that night doing the T1 cross-connect swings and had all his scripts ready, asked, "Why don't we just swing everything over now?" Turns out the original vendor engineers and management did not know we were migrating away from their product. Words were said, and they again assured us that they could fix this quickly. My coworker just says something similar to the famous Bill O'Reilly rant when he went unhinged saying, expletives, "F it, we'll do it live," and started migrating to the new router 8 hours early, and definitely not in the maintenance window. Everything came back up on our new ag routers. The original router vendor wanted us to continue to assist to collect data for them to troubleshoot, but we were told to drop from the bridge, monitor the network and status, and stagger driving home. I had to wait for my coworker to sign in from home to monitor before I could leave the office, and to not reply to their emails. I got to work a night shift 2 months later to kill power and pull breakers for that chassis for its decommission and uninstall. I hate working nights, but love that shift. Love it when you're in the middle of something and you can't really fix it without a whole lot of people getting pissed off, but sometimes you just gotta do it, man. Screw it. Just do it now. Get it over with. It's gonna hurt less. It's like pulling a band-aid. The slower you go, the worse it's gonna be. By the way, I know it's a little noisy in the background. It decided to thunderstorm in the middle of my recording and screw it. I don't feel like doing it later, so you get some nature sounds in the background. 4 techs, 3 levels of support, 2 monitors, 1 user. This should be short, but wow, it impressed me. Me, myself, Tier 3 support. See you, the user, an extremely nice lady who's had enough. T1, Tier 1 help desk. T2, Tier 2 help desk. Me. Good afternoon, customer. This is me with desktop support. I have a ticket here stating that you're having trouble opening applications. Customer. Yeah, whenever I open them, I can see them at the bottom, but I can't maximize the windows. Me. Okay, well, Customer. Let me just give you the backstory. I've spoken with 3 people so far. I called T1 Thursday and they weren't able to help me, so they transferred me to T2. They called back Friday and tried a bunch of other things but couldn't help me either. I called back T1 today to try and get some help and once again, nothing. Please, can you help? This is ridiculous. Me. Okay, so you said you can see the windows at the bottom, right? Can you move your mouse to the very edge of the window so that it changes into an up and down arrow? Then click and drag the window up? Customer. No, as soon as I go to the edge of the window, it disappears. Me. Now realizing that she's looking at the preview, not the actual windows. Okay, do you happen to have a second monitor connected? Customer. Yes. Me. Is it on? Customer. Oh, I didn't think of that. Hold on, let me try. Customer. Oh, it's all there now. That's weird. I don't know how they'd go over there. Sometimes it just happens. Is there anything else I can help you with? Makes you wonder if they were new to using dual monitors. I guess it's easy enough to get confused. Dog ate my keyboard. Good morning, IT crowd. Hope everyone here knows they are an essential worker and I send you nerd vibes to survive those dreaded VPN calls. Just remembered a story my coworker had back when I was working at Treebank as a help desk technician. I just wrapped up my call to the wonderful sound of my coworker sitting next to me laughing his butt off. Asked him what's so funny and he proceeds to tell me this story. User called in a while back because a letter broke off her laptop keyboard. Now, normally, if there are any physical damages, we have to give it to a non-contractor tech, not me, or a tier 2 tech to get replaced as the laptops are leased. Instead, whoever worked on the ticket sent the user a letter to replace the missing one. So the user got the letter and tried to superglue it to the laptop. While she was applying the superglue, somehow the letter fell to the floor and her dog snatched it up and ran off with it. Obviously teleworking. So now she was calling to get a new letter in which my coworker decided it was best to replace the laptop as it was covered in glue. I really wish I was the person who got this call, but my gut tells me I wouldn't be able to make it through without laughing. That's a new one. Dog went from eating your homework to eating your hardware. Amazing. Do you believe in fate? I have been doing tech support by this point for about a decade. I've had some really crazy calls, but I thought I'd share this one that was enjoyable. I worked for a company that provided VoIP services to businesses. I worked for the company this one merged with and was laid off a year before. But when their attempt at outsourcing didn't work, they brought some of us back with a hefty pay raise. Woo! Our customers were ecstatic to hear that their favorite call center team was back. I wasn't on the VoIP team last time, but I didn't handle the T1 and DSL support. I get a call from this customer who was pretty upset. I can't remember the issue. I think there was a call quality issue. Either way, the customer had been dealing with this issue for quite a while and she was not tech savvy. Within 15 minutes or so, I had the issue resolved. She was so happy. Started saying how she was happy she could talk to someone who knew what they were doing. I'd only been doing this for maybe a month at this point. Then she said, "Do you believe in fate?" There was a pause, then said, "Oh no, I didn't mean it like that. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to propose to you or anything. I'm a married woman." She was very flustered. I didn't take it that way at all. I couldn't help but laugh. No worries. I actually have had customers propose to me in a joking manner. I think. We had a great conversation, but it was these moments I live for in tech support. Sadly, a lot of the time they can get overshadowed by the bad calls we receive, so I try to hold on to these as much as possible. Doll, that's pretty wholesome. I like that. See, it's not all about the bitter, nasty people in our world. Sometimes it's the nice people too. Hey, if you've made it this far, you might as well click like and subscribe, right? And if you think of it, maybe you could even click one of these videos above.